Now we continue with the talk on the Four Noble Truths. Tonight, for the last week, we cover on the overall on the second noble truth, that is the origin of dukkha. So today we will still continue with the origin of dukkha, but we're going to look into another aspect, and this time we'll look into more towards the practice during in the time where you are practicing and you are meditating. Now, before we go on forward with this talk, I'd just like to remind for those who are new in this, whether you are in Facebook or whether you are in Zoom right now, these talks are not beginner's talk. These talks are a little bit more deeper, and also you need some degree of practice in order to understand what we are talking about. And also you must have some degree of theoretical knowledge on the teachings of the Buddha. So just to put you a head start. But anyway, you can still follow as long as you can understand as much as you can. All right. It may not be applicable to you for some of you because you have not done any meditation before. So, but nevertheless, you try to listen, and if you can understand in some ways, then it will be good for you. All right, in the future. All right. So let's go back to today's second noble truth on this origin of dukkha. Now, last week I mentioned on the overall of dukkha, and I said that this dukkha can come in many ways. It come in altogether 108 ways. And it's going to this 108 ways of how this craving arises. Then if one is not careful, when it's not mindful, and one is negligent, then this craving will spread its wings, spread its tentacles into becoming clinging, upadana. And that clinging, it comes in the clinging with the sensual pleasures. That means you're obsessive already. This is not just a mere beginning part of a craving, but this is coming into an obsessive part that you cling to it. Then if you don't cling to these sensual pleasures, then you may cling to the wrong views, or you cling to rites and rituals, or you cling to this Sakaya Ditti, which is a personality view. And when you cling to them, those clinging are the ones who create all kinds of suffering to you in this life and also in the future lives. Because this type of clinging, they produce bad results, unhappy result. That means one can able to reborn in the woeful states for a long, long period of time. So, now also on last week, during one of the question, the third question, I think that Fionn was asking about how we can prevent this craving to become sensual pleasures, how we can stop them from turning into sensual pleasures. And we mentioned some of it. But perhaps those type of talks also, I'll try to cover it in another time. Because that one, when we deal with clinging, it's got its own way of dealing with clinging. But tonight, we are going to look into how to prevent that craving from arising, not just going into sensual pleasures or the wrong views and all those things. We want to curb right at the beginning. We want to abandon them right at the beginning. So it still follows the principle of this Four Noble Truths, which I last week or the week before I mentioned that The first noble truth is to be fully understood. That means you have to see them as they really are. You're not supposed to abandon them or get rid of them, or you want them, and you're not supposed to die like that. First noble truth is to see them as they are, or fully understood them as they are. So second noble truth is to be fully abandon them. Fully abandon. There are two types of abandonment here. Then you have a temporary abandonment. Then you have a permanent abandonment. Tonight we are more or less talking about the temporary abandonment. And then the third noble truth is to be fully realized. Then we'll talk about that another day. And then we also will look into the fourth noble truth. With the principle of fourth noble truth is to be fully cultivate or fully develop those noble eightfold path. So the principle here, we go back to this craving right now, is that the craving is to be fully abandoned. But since we are not enlightened yet, then we ought to have, or we know how to able to abandon them so that they don't become a hindrance or the impediment for your practice or your progress in your spiritual development. Now, last week I did mention about a few things here and there. I said that this craving is subtle. They are subtle. They are not like you can see it. As I mentioned that, I'll give you a simple example, is that when you are doing sitting meditation, while you are sitting meditation and then the pain arises. And the pain arises just for a short while, you felt that you want to shift the body already, or you want to shift the leg already, for example, in order to ease the pain. To you, you may think that there is nothing. It's okay. But the craving already there. The craving here is the second type, the third type of craving, which is already there. Vibhava tanha. You wish the pain to go away. That wishing, that wanting, that desire, that craving is already there. But we don't see it. We don't see it because we thought that it's not a problem. We thought that is not a problem, just a minor movement. So what's the big deal after all? So here the craving, when it happens like that, in the beginning there's not much of a problem. But the problem is that when it becomes to develop into a habit, it develops into a habit, and then it happens again and again and again whenever the same unpleasant feelings or unpleasant sensation arises in the body. Every time that particular that kind of unpleasantness arises, immediately, without thinking, your body is already start moving in order to avoid the pain. The craving is already happening. And by the time you are not even thinking about it, then you will start to become again and again. You thought that it is normal. You thought that this is okay. Then therefore, the truth, we already cover it. We delight into meditation that is free from pain. We want the pain to be not. We don't want the pain to be there. We want the more of a pleasant sitting. So we delight into this small. We delight into this way. You see, so it become a habit. And once it become a habit, it's difficult to undo. That time, the craving already starts going on the way to clinging already, on the way. But of course, Then you're all too worried about it. I mean, you should look into it, but don't be too fearful in the sense that, I mean, this one is not going to bring you into woeful states, so don't worry about it. It hasn't gone into full bloom yet, that type of clinging, but it's on its way. So a yogi has to be careful. As a meditator, whether you're a samatha meditator or vipassana meditator, you got to be very careful. Now, catching the craving, to able to see the craving as they are, it is difficult. It's difficult to see the craving as they are. You see, craving can fall under first noble truth and the second noble truth. As a first noble truth, it belongs to the five aggregates, and it belongs specifically to the sankhara, the fourth aggregate. So you can see the craving as it is. But when it falls under the second noble truth, then that craving, it will act as an impediment. It will act as a of all your problems. So it can fall into these two places. This is unique part of craving. So therefore, as a meditator, especially as a vipassana meditator, you got to see it as it is. But seeing as it is, you need very much. You need a lot of skills, because this craving, most of the time, they are not a prominent object. So it's hard for you to able to detect them, even they're already at there or at the background. So it's not a prominent object. But how can we able to prevent them from arising? How are we going to able to prevent them from arising so that it does not become an impediment, it does not become a hindrance for your immediate development? So what can we do? Now it comes to this craving. When it comes to this craving, then it has to be like, when you see a fire, or sometimes you don't see the fire. You see the smoke will do. When you see the smoke, you know that the fire is there. Sometimes when you are in the big forest, especially like in overseas where forest fire is very frequent, then from far you can see the smoke is coming up, but you don't see the fire. You see there's a lot of smoke is around there already. So too the same thing. When we want to deal with this craving, we see the nature that is the conditions or the object that is connected to, rather than seeing the craving itself. Because if you're mindful of that particular object that is the craving right now is connected to, as long as your mindfulness comes in, then the craving will automatically disappear. It will automatically disappear. So you don't have to see the craving itself. All you need to do is to see another object and keep your mindfulness there. Then the craving disappear. Afterwards, we give you a number of examples and to see how we are dealing with it. And some of us are already doing it. So this craving, again here, I'm going to tie back, to our first noble truth. That time when we talk about the first noble truth, we talk about the three types of dukkha. You have dukkha, you have this is a painful dukkha, the suffering type of dukkha. Then you have the viparinama dukkha due to change. And again, dukkha, sankhara dukkha due to formations. So the first one is connected with our unpleasant feelings. And then we cover on that too. So tonight we're going to cover on the one that's connected with the pleasant feelings, because that is where the craving likes to be there. Yeah? Especially on the pleasant feelings, it likes to hang around there. Yeah? So we can see. We don't have to see as I said, we don't have to see the craving, but sometimes all we need to do is to see the smoke that's just around the craving. Yeah? Yeah. So let us look into some of the things or a number of things where a yogi begins to get caught with this type of pleasantness. And this partner, when they get caught into it, a lot of times they don't realize it. One thing. If they don't realize it that they get caught, sometimes when they get caught into it for a long period of time, then they form into a mental habit. When they form into a mental habit, later on, it can form into wrong views also. It can form into wrong views. So take note of this one, because afterwards we're going to look into it much more. Yeah? Now, here we're going to introduce to you, if some of you who have not heard of this term before, it's called Vipassana Upakilesa. Yeah? It's a Upakilesa. And let me share the screen right now with you. All right. Vipassana Upakilesa, the imperfections of insight meditation. The imperfection of insight meditation. Here you can get this list in the Visuddhimagga or even in the Abhidhamma. It's mentioned, this Vipassana Upakilesa. And this Upakilesa, it's this imperfection. It's where a lot of yogis, they are not beginners yogi, because in the beginning part of the yogi, although you may have some this one, but this one come in a bit more developed, slightly more developed type of yogis. This is Vipassana Upakilesa, imperfection of insight. The word Upakilesa here, Upa means near, Kilesa means defilements. So it means that something very near to you, something the defilement is very near. It's not like just any normal defilements that you already so obvious, but this one is a very close. And when it's close, you can't really see it. So usually like in the metta or in the compassion, when we say that there is a near enemy and there's a far enemy. A near enemy of metta, so far enemy of metta means the opposite of it. That means there's this anger. Anger and metta is the opposite. But near enemy, it looks similar like metta, but they are not metta. It is the evil twin, which is a sensual desire actually, or desire. But here in Upakilesa here, Upa means near again, as I said, that it looks like you are doing well now. But you forget that, but you don't realize that sometimes at a certain part, you get attached to it. This Vipassana Upakilesa, all right? You can cut the word Vipassana out, you can put Samatha there, it's also totally valid. Then imperfection of tranquility meditation. Samatha also they also get caught into it with this type of things also. But slightly we later part also we talk about it, But this list is normally it comes in the Abhidhamma and also in the Visuddhimagga, and it's connected with Vipassana. But as I said, Samatha practitioner also, they are also caught with the Upakilesa and they don't even realize it. So, this Vipassana Upakilesa here, before we start off with this one, there are some people there are some people who get it if you meditate. Yeah. There are those people who don't get it also, this type of vipassana, upakilesa. Who are the people who don't get it? The first one is the enlightened ones. They don't get it. Yeah. Then doesn't mean that they don't have mindfulness, they don't have equanimity, They have all those things. It's just that they don't get attached to them. Yeah. So the noble ones, they don't have it. Now, secondly, those people who don't have it is those people who don't meditate, and they don't have it. Here, it belongs to those meditators, this one, which is interesting. Yeah. So we're going to look at this. The first one is aura or lights. Here, lights, illumination, and the Pali word is obasa. Here it means that when you are meditating. Oh, sorry. Before we go on to this one, there's one more thing I want to mention. Let me go back to this one again. Again here, this you see, number 1 to number 9 now, they are not the problem now. Number 1 to number 9, these are not the problem. In fact, that if you have these, the first one in number 9, it's wonderful. The problem is with the number 10, the delight, the attachment. The Pali word is nikanti. It is this here, at the number 10, they are the craving. And the craving here, it can crave for something wholesome also. You can crave for something which is wholesome that while you are doing, practicing. So when they stand alone, when this number 1 to number 9, when they stand alone without the number 10, then they are wholesome mental states. They are wholesome mental states. It's because of number 10, it turns into an impediment. It turns into something that it blocks your progress. All right? So the 1 to 9 is a good one, is because of the number 10. Then we begin to delight in those things. Okay? All right. Now, the lights here, or the illumination, or the obaso here, it means that when you're meditating, your mind begins to see, different yogis see it differently. Some people may see one spot of light. Some people may see a white light. Some people will see a stretch of lights, or a light, which is stretched, not round. Some people see a spotted one. Some people as if that the light or the aura is encompassing the whole mind. Or not only encompassing the whole mind, some people encompassing like the whole body. Encompass the whole body. Some people, the lights is again like shimmering, glittering here and there. Sometimes it's like running here and there, the lights. Some people have multiple lights. Some people have white light. Some people have red light. Some people have green illumination, aura, and so on. So different yogis have different way of seeing those things. Now, one of this aura thing, or one of this illumination thing, it's when your mind, it's quite alert. And this time when you are not sleepy, when you are not drowsy, then this type of lights comes up. It comes up. I said one of the causes, don't quote my word. You don't hear one, you think that is all, This one of the causes that the mind becomes bright, clear, And in fact, that not just clear, it becomes illuminated, it becomes like aura like, then it is also because of your qualities of your mindfulness and your concentration and all that. And it has come up to a certain level and is quite a good level. And whenever you have these lights in the mind, and while you are noticing them, these lights, you will see that that time you don't have sloth and torpor. You don't have sloth and torpor during this time. Because when you have sloth and torpor, the whole mind is bong, You cannot see everything, very dark, very clear, very heavy. So when the mind has bright lights, clear, illuminated, and then you find that your mind is very alert. Now, on another part of this other times, we talk about it. Especially when we want to overcome sloth and torpor, the Buddha also mentioned that you can use lights, or you create the lights in order for you to overcome sloth and torpor. But that one we look into it another time. So we come back here on this imperfection. Now, when the lights comes up, this light or lights comes up. Now, some yogis, actually most yogis, when in the beginning part, when they are not careful, then they begin to appreciate and begin to delight into it. They like the lights. They sit down there and they sit there, or they walk sometimes also. They want the lights to happen. The breath that they are using initially, or the rising, falling that they are using initially, they don't want to see it anymore. They want the lights. Because when you have the lights, for some yogis, because it doesn't have any sloth and torpor, then you feel good. Because in your past practice, you are affected with a lot of sloth and torpor, a lot of drowsiness, a lot of sleepiness, and now with the lights coming up, then the whole meditation become very good. I mean, if I go back, then you may think that if I go back to this rising and falling, in breath, out breath, and other object, then I go sleepy again. So might as well delight into it to these lights. Then that is where when these lights comes in, sometimes it comes in with some pleasant feelings also. Sometimes it's just equanimous feeling. You don't sort of like really like it or don't like it, but you want it to be there. You just want it to be there. It doesn't give you any pleasant or unpleasant things like that. No? So another yogi, he may see this light and it's quite pleasant. And while you sit there, because it's pleasant and the mind it's clear without all this sloth and torpor, and you feel good. A lot of people just sit there and now basking in the light, in the limelight, or whatever light they are seeing right now. Then they just sit there. And then the next day, if they meditate, or the next time they meditate, you think they want to go back to the rising and falling, or they want to go back to the sitting and touching, or they're going back to the in-breath, out-breath, or metta, and so on. No, they don't want to go back there. They want to go back to that particular lights. They want to go back to those lights. Even for samatha meditator, also the same thing. You're supposed to, let's say you're supposed to do metta. You're supposed to, may I be free from harm and danger, and then you keep on going. But along the way, while the metta is coming up, the feeling, the emotion of metta is coming up, then the lights also come up together with it. And at that time, you're supposed to stick with that metta, but now you divert into the lights. And then you keep on, again here, you begin to delight in the lights again. So you see, whether you're in samatha or whether in vipassana, the craving doesn't care. The craving doesn't care whether you're samatha. This samatha vipassana is all concept. I mean, for us, in order for us to teach. But while you're meditating, this craving, when this type of things happen, if you are not mindful, then the whole thing will just hold on to it. The tentacles will start wrapping around that light, without you knowing it. And then because you delight into it, and your delighting you keep on feeding the craving. You keep on feeding it, and then it gets stronger, stronger, and you want it every sitting to come in this way, and you want it to come in this way. So the craving already begins to go into strong obsession already. The obsession is start coming up already. And then the next obsession that comes up before it goes into a strong clinging or before it go into a wrong view, it is the I am. The pride, the Pali word is mana. The mana is already come up. You think that you are already a great meditator. You think that you are already a wonderful meditator. You think that you have this light and other people don't have this light. You think that this light, it's quite a near towards enlightenment already. Or some people may think that this is maybe enlightenment already. Maybe enlightenment already. They begin to think of oneself as enlightenment, but he is not sure yet. So you keep on doing it. You keep on doing it again and again. Now, this is where it begins to fall into wrong view. The whole craving has turned into wrong view when begin to believe that that light is an enlightenment, or that light is nibbana, or that light is jhana. You haven't even reached any form of jhana or anything, but you already think that you already there. You already think that this is not thinking, sorry. You believe that you're already in enlightenment already. You believe that you are already nibbana already, because you have seen these lights again and again and again and again and again. So what else can it be except nibbana? If you are doing vipassana, if you are a samatha meditator, what else can it be except jhana? So you see, the craving itself, beginning from that simple light, the craving wrap around it, force it into it, without you realizing it, fall into a wrong view. When you fall into a wrong view, this is where your craving, tanha, mana, and ditthi, or miccha ditthi, the wrong view, tanha, mana, ditthi. You always go into that particular sequence. It's part of the whole dependent origination thing. Tanha, mana, ditthi. So when it happens, especially when it comes into wrong view, it's very hard for people or others to untangle you. You don't even know that you are untangled so much. You think that everything is straightened up already. All your life has been straightened up already. Craving or the clinging here right now is make you think something like that. In the Pali, in the suttas, when we say the grip of Mara, grip you and make you happy. Yeah. So as I said, the craving wrap around that particular lights. Then it goes into, you think that you are a great meditator, or you think that this is a wonderful experience. You think that this one, you begin to the thinking and connected to yourself, the I am, rather the ego already arising. And then repeatedly you proliferate on it again and again. The mentally you proliferate on it, then it turns into something that you begin to believe that this could be enlightenment, or you believe that this is supernormal powers or whatever. Yeah. So, but it does not stop there. As I said, it does not stop there. once you think that once you believe that you are enlightenment, then it will spread further. Now spread further into spread to everybody else. Because that time you will come out and to teach others about the light. And this and you begin to teach others, and there's a lot of people whose Dhamma is weak. Whose Dhamma is weak, or is they don't have much Dhamma. And then they fall into that trap, because you may be a monk, or you may be a nun, or you can be a very charismatic speaker, and people follow you. And they follow you, and they follow you into the wrong path. And when you are beginning, you teach people rising, falling, then you teach people in breath, out breath. But at the end, you want them to follow into that particular path. But that it becomes very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And those things are happening right now. And sometimes some of the books here that I have in my library here, that is exactly mentioned the same thing. And we read about it exactly. This is all upakilesa. Beginning from this upakilesa, it falls under all this wrong view. And people praise them, although that these are all not Dhamma. So you see the trend of the craving, the trend of that craving, it builds up the fire. It builds up again and again and again and again and again until it becomes a wrong view, and you can spread out to the world. Yeah? So we come back here. We come back to this craving again. We come back to this light again. We forget about all this development for right now. Yeah? We gotta forget about it. Now, how are we going to deal with this one? How are we going to deal with the lights? Yeah? As I said earlier on, the light is not a problem. The problem is the craving. But a lot of times, as I said, you can't see the craving. You can't able to notice the craving is behind there. But right now, let's say if you are meditating, while you're meditating, now this time if the lights are coming up, you acknowledge it, but you don't fall into it. You acknowledge it means that you see it as it is. Then this time you just note lights, 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 lights. If it's pleasant to you, pleasant, 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 pleasant. Then when you see these pleasant things, finally they too will disappear. Sometimes it goes stronger before it disappears. Sometimes it stay a bit longer before it disappears. But sooner or later, they will disappear. They will change. So your job is to see them as they are. Just note it as lights, lights, lights. Note it as pleasant, pleasant, pleasant. Note it as seeing, seeing, seeing. Whichever that how you note it, it's perfectly all right. As long as you aware of it, as long as you are totally alert of it. When you're alert of it, then there's a mindfulness prevents you from the mind from falling into it. Without that mindfulness, you are straight away, you go into the craving. So when the mindfulness is there, as long as you be aware of that light, then the craving cannot arise. Because the mind cannot have wholesome state and then a craving arises at the same time. Cannot. If your mindfulness is continuous at this time, and then you note the lights. Then when you see the lights here, and you see the pleasant feelings here, if you note them carefully, then you begin to turn that lights or that pleasant feelings into what we call viparinama dukkha. Because now you see the change in this aggregate. You see that arising, and then you see how it sustained, and slowly, slowly how it disappears. Viparinama dukkha. Yeah. So this is how we take care of it. This time you don't have to do anything much. All you need to do is just keep your mindfulness there. Say it's easy, because how many times these things get caught in the yogis, and the rest of it, after when I'm going to mention, they all follow the same trend. It's just that the initial different types of objects in the beginning only, but they follow the same trend, and then the ego arises, then the wrong view arises. All you need to do is be mindful of it. But the thing is that a lot of times we forget to be mindful. Yes, we say that you have to be mindful, you have to be alert, you have to pay attention to them, don't fall into them, but say it's easy. So this time, especially with this type of craving, you need a teacher. You need a competent teacher to guide you. You cannot have this type of craving. It will come in so many ways. Even when they say lights just now, it can trick you in many ways. Sometimes you thought that, okay, last retreat I have these lights. Now I'm mindful of it. I feel good. Then okay, let's say you don't fall into it. Good. But another retreat these lights can turn in another way. When you turn into another way, if you are not careful, there you are, you get caught again. So that is where the teacher, a competent teacher, comes in, or you seek help from the teacher, or you discuss your experience with the teacher. If the teacher is competent enough, the moment he hears what you are talking, and then it's where it's going to stop you. Even if you feel good about yourself, even if you feel nice about it, but we just don't realize that the craving is already behind it. So sometimes this is like when a yogi is meditating, they're like a small child, like a small child. And then the parents, sometimes you have to tell them, hey, although you are doing pleasant thing, that doesn't mean that it's good. So something like this. So the teacher, a competent teacher, will be very helpful if you can find one. But sometimes, sorry to say that, sometimes people meditate when they see these lights. The teacher encourage even more. You must see these lights even better. Make it brighter. Make it this one and so on. See like that. Gone. Because he or she may be wearing the robes. Yeah. Then when you're wearing the robes, and then you thought that all the authority must be right. So sometimes it's difficult. Yeah? It's difficult to this, and these type of things, and as places have been and so on. I've seen these type of things happening in the world of meditation. And sometimes if I'm a teacher for that group of yogis, then I can stop them. Sometimes as a yogi, and also there are fellow yogis also. I'm as a yogi, and sometimes they brag about it, They brag about it. They sit there, I got this light and that light now. This light and that light, they brag to other yogis. Then I hear it, I know already what you are going through, But since I'm not a teacher, I didn't go and tell you that, you must don't do this, do that, because they don't have faith in you. They don't have faith in you. So you all you need to do is just hear and just carry on with your meditating. That time you cannot do anything. Let the teachers go and handle them. This is not my job to do it. So, as I said, this one, as long as you are mindful, as long as you are alert, then that's not a problem. It's not a problem. So the first one, I give you an understanding. At least it gives you an understanding how this thing process will happen. We're going to see, let's say, another one. Now, the second one is this joy. Or sometimes they translate as zest, sometimes rapture. The Pali word is piti. Now, here the joy, it comes with pleasant feelings already. But this one is not pleasant feelings per se, but this one is like mental excitement, mental flurry. Not to say in a flurry in the sense of like restless mind, but it's like excited. The mind is excited. The mind is like uplifted. Yeah. Now here during this time, while the person is meditating, at certain times, that type of joy, that type of zest or rapture, it arises in the yogis. It also arises in samatha yogis. In fact, that a lot of this number 2 and number 3 and number 4, it arises a lot in samatha yogis. It arises in vipassana yogis also, but not in the beginning part of the meditation. In the beginning part of the meditation, you will get pain, nothing but pain. Sit down, pain, morning, pain, night, pain. Next day you come back again, also pain. So you get a lot of pain during in the meditation, especially in the vipassana development. But when you go into a little bit more deeper experience of insight, especially when your mindfulness is very sustainable, very continuous, and at time you can able to notice your objects very clearly. Let's say perhaps after sitting, you can have 80% of the time, let's say of an hour, 80% of your time, you can able to be mindful of alert. In the beginning of the practice, your mind only have achieved maybe 5%, 95%, and either you're sleeping, either you're thinking, don't know what you're doing inside there. 5% only you are alert. But sometimes in a retreat or two, as you build up 2 or 3 retreats, and you build up in your meditation, then you can come in like 85%, 90%, sometimes 100%. The moment you sit down, the whole hour you can be very mindful. So it's about that time, that type of joy do arises. They arises in a way of, in a different way again for some yogis here and there. Now, before we go through all this just now, the 10 upakilesa, now some yogis experience certain upakilesa more than others. For example, he may experience aura more than joy. And then another yogi may experience the rapture or the joy more than aura. Or later, another yogi may experience the bliss or the pleasant feelings more than the aura. So each and every yogi has a different way of get connected or how this upakilesa arises. But I think that throughout your meditation, there's a way I think, but throughout your meditation, there'll be, all of them will come in. All of them will come in. But some of them are more, they stay longer. They are more prominent to you. Yeah? So sometimes if you are not a very knowledgeable yogi, theory and also in practice, if you are not knowledgeable, then people say something, I get lights, I can get this also. How come I don't get one? All I get is just pleasant feeling, pleasant. How come you got light? Oh, I don't have one. Then go and compare. Just different people have different things. Sometimes in the meditation world, sometimes they sit down, gather around, if they can gather right now. Not in the past, and also in the future, also later on, when things are getting better. When they sit down, they talk about their meditation, and usually they don't talk about their rising, falling. They don't talk about all their insight. They talk about their things that they get delighted into it. They delight into the lights and so on. So they'll sit there, they'll talk about it. And then other people will listen to them. Wow, you have all these things. Wonderful. Great. Yeah. Anyway, we go to the second one. Second one, when you have this joy, when it comes in the meditation, it comes in a few ways. One way, for example, is that it comes in as a minor piti. It's a kind of like a simple goosebumps like that. Yeah. For example, when you sit down, then you feel something delighted in the body, then goosebumps, goosebump hair or the hair stand up. Not out of fear, but kind of I feel goosebumps around the whole body. So this is one type of joy that yogi may encounter. Another type of joy that arises in the yogi is a type of joy that is sweeping through. Sweeping through, like you are going through as if like a wave. They said that in the text, it's like a wave in the sea that is keep on coming in, then after another one coming in, then after another one coming in. It doesn't last there for a long period. It kind of like come in for a while, then it disappear, come in a while, it disappear, come in a while, disappear. And every time it comes in, you feel good. Or sometimes it come in like a shower as if like from top of your head, you kind of come down again. Wow, you feel good. That time you feel good. Yeah? You feel good. The whole body is here. At that time also, while these things is happening, that joy is happening right now, your mind also it's quite your mind is quite calm, in the sense that you're not interested in all these sensual pleasure things. All this delight into like your mobile phones, your whatever, and external things. At that moment of time, because that joy, it feels more better, feels more refined compared to your worldly things. So that time, you want to sit longer. And also that time, of course, you don't feel lethargic because of that BTS around you. You don't feel lethargic, you don't feel fatigue. Even if you come back from work, let's say, and that particular sitting after that, in the evening, you feel a lot of joy arises. All your fatigue and all your stress all gone. At least for that sitting, maybe come back a short while later. But for that particular sitting, you feel like you are refreshed. The whole body and mind is refreshing. Feels good. Yeah. So one of the way how it comes in is like it comes in, it sweeps through you, sweeps through the body. Another type of the joy is it feels like your whole body. It's not at this time sweeping through. It's more or less staying there, and staying there as if that your whole mind is alert, it feel good. It doesn't have that momentary type of joy, It more like your cocoon type of joy, and the whole body feels good. And you stay there, and then you feel you really delight in the right now, present here and now. It feels really good. Yeah? No, I said no fatigue, no lethargic, and so on. And you feel good. Now again here, compared to your previous meditation, at your previous meditation, you have a lot of pain and a lot of tension, a lot of fatigue, a lot of lethargic, a lot of sleepiness. And right now, everything is so joyful, so rapturous, so pleasant, so nice to meditate. When it's so nice to meditate, you feel good. You feel wonderful. You want to sit there for a longer period of time. You want to sit there for a longer period just to enjoy, or just to bask in that showering joy. There's some joy also. It's like uplifting type of joy. Uplifting type of joy. That means it can makes the body starts to move. It can makes the body starts to move. There are some yogis, because of this type of joy, then sometimes they sit already, because of that particular strong joy. Then the body starts to sway, go up, go down, go up, go down, go up. Or some people sway to the left, right, left, right. Some people sway round and round and round and round and round. No, no kepala pusing or pening one, you know. You just go around. No headache one. Just go around delighting in the moving. And while you are also moving at that time, the body seems like having a good stretch also. Like, it can able to pull you. You think that you're fat because of that belly fat so much. Now, sometimes when you sit down cross-legged, you want to bend your head down, so you can't even reach halfway. But this time, because of its movement a lot, your whole head can even touch the floor while you're sitting cross-legged. Even your belly fat is so big. Somehow or another, it makes the body light and it makes the body agile, flexible, and then you can able to feel it. It feels good actually. and before that, your body is so stiff and so tight, and here it kind of like loosen here, a few screws and there, a few joints here and there. Wow, after that, when you get up, you also feel really refreshed. Yeah. So that type of meditation, a lot of people, when they get caught into it, they want it the next round. They want it to, every time you sit, you want it to be there. So you see, this time the pleasant feeling when it comes in, they are nice, and you cannot feel this type of joy, or later on, some of it, you cannot feel it when you are not meditating. When you don't meditate, you cannot feel it. This is reserved for meditators. Yeah. So therefore, here, if you are not careful, then you fall into its trap. If you're not careful, you begin to delight in it. So you delight in it, you begin to crave on it, and when that craving comes in, again, it follows the same sequence of, I am a great meditator. I can move. I can delight. And I can then later on with that type of joy, you think that this is also Nibbana. This you believe that this is Nibbana, or you believe that this is jhana. So this is follow the same trend. Again, you follow the same trend means that after that you believe that this is Nibbana. So what else do? You come up and you open up a meditation center and you proclaim your Dhamma. Yeah. So the same thing. Yeah. So here we are. When this thing again, when you're mindful, when it's begin to delight is happening, make sure that you put a bit more effort in your mindfulness and not joy, pleasant, moving, something like that. Yeah? Because if you don't watch that, especially those movements, it can develop further and further. And just now, as I said, you're just slightly moving. Now it's starting to go ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, turning here and there. As I said, some of the talks in the past, in the same type of talks, I've mentioned that I've met with yogis who actually, in the meditation seat, they can bounce on their meditation seat, and then they can bounce from one meditation seat to another somebody else's meditation seat. How they bounce, I have no idea, but you can see it with your own eyes. How they can bounce, they can move here and there. As I said, that time also we are quite afraid of he going to bounce because we are on the first floor, he's going to bounce at the staircase and then bounce down. That becomes a big problem. So somebody was stationed at the staircase there. But this type of things happen. It happens. I've seen people just rolling on the floor, rolling and rolling. While they are rolling and smiling there also. But this type of things, it's easy to see. Once you begin to start moving, the teachers or other yogis can able to feedback to the teachers, or the teachers can actually see you. Then you'll be called aside and they'll ask you to stop and so on. these things do happen, these things do happen. And so as I said that when these things are beginning to happen, be mindful already. You be mindful already, then again this type of joy, it will come, it will go. It comes in. This type of joy, it's when it comes in. What you should do with this type of joy is that you take note of it. Joy, joy, joy. And after that, if the joy is not so prominent, but it's still there, bring your attention to your main object of your meditation. That time could be your rising, falling, could be your in-breath, out-breath, or whatever that is prominent to you. That time, your mind is actually quite alert and quite good and quite, the mind is not running here and there. The mind is like interested in your object of your observation. Yeah. So all you need to do is just to bring the attention back to your original object, to your main object, and let that joy behind it and make it like a supportive condition to your noting state of mind. So that joy, it makes the interest to your object becomes clear, it becomes continuous, and then you develop. So use the joy instead of getting delight into it. You come back and you take note of it and carry on with the meditation. So when you carry on with that meditation, when you are not caught with it, then it's not upakilesa already. It's not upakilesa. At that moment of time, you temporarily abandon the craving and the delight. You temporarily abandoning them, so your progress can go further. You see, so this is a little bit on this craving and delight. Now I cannot able to finish right now for this one, so I will continue on Wednesday for another of these few more to go. So we'll stop here and then we'll bring the whole thing to Wednesday. Okay, we stop here for tonight.